In a statement to the New York Times earlier today, a spokesman for Kevin McCarthy issued a flat denial that McCarthy ever said he would push Trump to resign. That spokesman said, quote, "McCarthy never said he'd call Trump to say he should resign." McCarthy never said he'd call Trump to say he should resign. To further clarify, you should also know that NBC News reached out to the congressman's office following that statement, specifically asking again and drilling down on the question of whether or not Mr. McCarthy said he would push President Trump to resign. His spokesman responded saying, quote, "No, he did not." Leader McCarthy also issued a statement himself today saying in part, quote, "The New York Times reporting on me is totally false and wrong." The problem with these denials from Mr. McCarthy and his office is that we have now obtained audio of that January 10th phone call that Leader McCarthy held with other top Republicans, in which he in fact said he's going to call Trump and tell him that he must resign. The authors of this new book, Jonathan Martin and Alexander Burns from the New York Times, they have shared that audio of this call with us so that we can share it with you tonight, so that you can know that when Kevin McCarthy denies that this happened, he is not telling the truth. Here it is.
Liz, you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Kevin. I guess there's a question. When we were talking about the 25th Amendment resolution, and you asked if what happens if it gets there after he's gone. Is there any chance? Are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking of having that conversation with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. From what I know of him, I mean, you guys all know him too. Do you think he'd ever back away? But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call him. This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence party or anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation we should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know.
So Kevin McCarthy came out and categorically denied saying that he would push Trump to resign. And yet this guy got himself caught on tape quite literally saying exactly that. In case you were wondering if Kevin McCarthy had even an ounce of shame, the answer is no. And it just goes to show the complete rewriting of history that's occurred since January 6th. Because let's be clear, what McCarthy had said immediately following the insurrection was the correct thing to say. It was only after a little bit of time passed and these Republicans finally conceded that they're more afraid of Donald Trump than the damage he was doing to America, that suddenly we went from Republicans declaring that Trump should resign to Republicans claiming that actually it wasn't an insurrection and it was just Antifa and it was just a tourist visit, and the kicker, that it was all justified because you know what? The election was stolen. And of course these people know that the election wasn't stolen because when they're not gaslighting their own supporters, they know full well that the election was fair. Just like how in private, they will admit without hesitation that Trump was culpable and that he should resign. The point is that it's not just bad enough that these Republicans like Kevin McCarthy will lie shamelessly and openly, but that they believe their supporters to be so stupid that they have zero qualms about doing it. Also, if Kevin McCarthy is going to lie so blatantly about this, just imagine how many other times he's lied, knowing full well that the Hannitys and Laura Ingrams of the world would help him sell whatever bullshit he was peddling. This lie being exposed doesn't just pierce the armor on this one situation, it is proof that the guy will lie and always has done it before because he knows that no one on his side is willing to hold him to account. You don't lie this breezily, this naturally, if you are a person who tells the truth. And by the way, speaking of people who fail to hold him to account, I can guarantee you that this won't be shown on Fox or any other right-wing network, meaning they'll just employ the same exact strategy that got us here in the first place, which is helping McCarthy and Trump and Republicans promote whatever narrative they're seeking to spread. And so while I'm certain that Fox helped promote McCarthy's attack on the evil New York Times for daring to make up lies about him, I am just as certain that Fox won't say a word about the fact that McCarthy's denial was proven to be a complete and total lie. Because right-wing media isn't news, it is propaganda. And you know the saddest part of all of this? This humiliation was for Donald Trump, who, let's be clear, could not give less of a shit about Kevin McCarthy. Trump has spent years demanding absolute loyalty from his sycophants, only to dump them off the moment they lose their usefulness. And you would think that at some point, these Republicans would realize that, but one by one they continue to grovel before ultimately accepting some humiliation on his behalf. Lather, rinse, repeat. So look, I don't think we converted anyone tonight who was under some spell that Kevin McCarthy isn't a soulless, run-of-the-mill partisan hack, but at the very least, I hope you can see the extent to which it's become second nature for Republicans to lie. And if I was someone considering casting a ballot for them, I would think twice and demand more than the absolute nothingness being offered up by them right now. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.